guys, welcome back to Strip by Sia, your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people. Today we are again virtually recording here in my home studio and also recording with the wonderful Sara Tonin from her wonderful home. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm so happy to have you on the show, my dear.
I'm so happy to be on your show.
So happy. Okay, tell the audience who you are, like what you do, where you come from, anything you want, basically. You want the audience to know. Go for it.
Okay, where to begin? Well, I am Sara Tonin. I am a burlesque performer here in Vancouver. I'm also a pole instructor. I'm a competitive pole dancer. I'm an actor, singer, dancer. I mean, basically almost anything and all thing performance related I do. But yeah, right now I'm really dipping my toes into that burlesque scene. I perform primarily with the Vancity Vixens Cabaret, formerly known as Cabaret Torlage. And yeah, that's my life. And I perform in gigs around the city when I can.
Wow. Well, that's a long list of things.
So, yeah.
All the things. Okay, so why don't we get into burlesque? How did you get started? Like, what is the story with that? It's all new to me. Tell the audience everything.
Oh my God, yeah. So my burlesque story, it's been like a really long journey of self-discovery. So long time ago, I took a burlesque class at Harbor Dance Center under, I think it was Lee Torlage who taught it.
Oh my God, me too.
I know, it was so cool.
She's the best.
Long time ago. And actually, so I did go to musical theater school and I had been rejected after my first audition. So I was going to audition again. And I was like, oh man, I need to find a dance class. Cool, burlesque. That sounds fun. So naturally, that's what I did. I had so much fun with that. It was really basic movement. I was really understanding, like feeling myself. Then I think, it was that summer I did like a small little burlesque My Little Pony number, kind of embarrassing.
What? Oh my God, this is amazing though.
I know, I've never told you this, but I did something with Geekenders a long ass time ago.
Okay, yeah. And Geekenders is another burlesque troupe in the city, right?
It's another burlesque troupe, yeah.
Right.
And this was under a completely different stage name.
Oh my God.
And it just, I don't really count it as my burlesque debut because like I did it once and then I didn't do it again. It was like really bad. I had like a pasty fall off and I was like, oh my God, I was mortified.
God. Oh my God. That's so scary.
Okay. And then I went to musical theater school. So clearly like the burlesque got put onto the side for a bit.
Okay.
Then I finished school and was like, okay, getting into the theater scene. And then the magical performance or show known as Vamp happened, which was a musical burlesque extravaganza put on by Two Fly Productions.
Amazing. And
it was honestly one of the best shows I've ever been in. It was so much fun. It was so liberating. It really opened my eyes to what burlesque could be. It could be anything and all things you want to be. The story of it is this girl who lives in like this super respectable town where there's no sex before marriage. Like sex is super taboo, but she's horny all the time. So she masturbates to Ryan Gosling, falls into the sexual underworld and has to go through the 7 deadly sins as sexual creatures.
God.
Yeah, I was, what was it? I was a zombie, a werewolf, and a clown.
Of course you were.
Show.
Yes.
It was so much fun. So much fun. And as a clown, I had like this rainbow umbrella with a purple dildo on the top of it. So that was really exciting.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that was like last year, right?
Yeah, this was actually, it only closed like a year ago as of yesterday, I believe.
Oh my God. Vamp anniversary.
Yeah, Vamp was my burlesque debut as Sara Tonin, and it was actually the producers of that show that donned me that name. They gave me that name.
Really?
Yeah. So it's thanks to Two Fly that I have this wonderful, wonderful name.
Okay. Is there a story behind that?
Sorry?
Is there a story behind that?
No, that's just because they were like, oh, your real name sounds similar to this. And I was like, I don't really want to have my real name in it. So let's change it to Sara.
Right.
So Sara Tonin sounds just like way better, closer to the actual chemical.
Yes.
Then I did that, and then I just like was like, wow, I really like this. And then I sort of stopped doing. Well, I didn't really get into many musicals after that, and I just like kept doing burlesque, and I had so much fun with it. And yeah, so like I did a couple more gigs after that. I did Wizards Undress at the Rio Theater this past summer.
Is it Harry Potter?
Yeah, it's like a Harry Potter thing.
So
I
cool.
pole danced and was Bellatrix Lestrange, and I danced to a Kim Petras song called In the Next Life, and it was so much fun.
Yes.
And I joined Cabaret Torlage when it was called Cabaret Torlage. I joined for their Halloween show as a singer. And then, it's just the rest is history. I've just been performing with Cabaret Torlage at the Penthouse ever since. We did rebrand recently. I guess we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
And some here and there I do gigs, especially online right now. I'm doing Two Fly Productions. They're doing Pent Up, which is like an online virtual cabaret. So I've done that once already. And I just found out this morning I'm doing it again in a few weeks.
What?
So that's really exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So many things for you, and it sounds like things are just not slowing down, which is incredible during this time.
Yeah, no, it's really something else. I mean, to me, it feels like everything slowed down because, like, I've had everything ripped away, like studio time and all that jazz. But
with COVID,
yeah.
But we'll get into that too. Okay, there's so many things. Okay, back up.
Okay.
Okay, so that was your intro to burlesque. Sounds incredible.
Yeah,
I did not know all that. Okay, because we're friends in real life, so I was like, oh my gosh, this is the real story. I'm getting the full deal. This is awesome. But besides burlesque, you do obviously like a lot of cross training too, and you do pole dancing, which is where I know you from.
Yes.
So do you want to tell the audience a little bit about that too? Because like you're an amazing pole dancer.
Thank you.
Just have to say that on the record.
Thank you so much. Well, I do pole dancing, and that's like a whole other, like everything I do in my life has like this big grand story to it. Now that I think about it, it's kind of crazy. So I started with Tantra Fitness, like 3 or 4 years ago. And I actually started in aerial silks. So I trained in aerial silks for a year.
Really?
And I did.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I know. I have a lot of surprises up my sleeve.
And it's only like 5 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah. So I did silks for like a year. But I just remember there was a girl, I don't remember who it was, training for PSO. And it was at the Richmond location where they had those 2 poles that people used for competition training.
Oh, back in the day.
Back in the day. And I just remember seeing her do this absolutely gorgeous witch drop all the way to the bottom of the pole. And like it took my breath away. And I was like, I want to do that. So I slowly transitioned into pole, but now I'm pole only. I don't do aerial silks anymore. Or I did a little bit of hoop as well. But yeah, I don't do any of that anymore. Yeah, but it was natural because, like, honestly, my body isn't really well built for silks because I find with silks you need to have sort of this natural flexibility. But I just didn't have – I'm not a super flexible person to begin with. Like, it's really hard for me to get my brain around that. So pole was so much better because there's so much fake flexibility involved in it.
Fake till make it.
And I faked it till I made it.
Yes.
So yeah, I did pole. I trained. I kind of went up the levels pretty quickly because of silks. And then, I did competitions after that. And it was just so much fun. And I'm typically under the entertainment category. So I like doing comedic, funny, upbeat numbers. Occasionally I'll do like a serious dramatic piece. But I don't know. Funny. That's like my style in burlesque as well. I'm either like really sleek and sexy and fierce. Right. Or I'm just like downright ridiculous and silly. And honestly, I love being silly on stage. I love making a fool of myself on stage. If I can get people to laugh, I'm happy.
Yes. But it's also just really great to show all the different facets that you have too, and to really showcase your artistic ability because you're so diverse. You know what I mean?
And it's fun to just be able to like express yourself. Well, actually, too, PSO is having an online competition coming up.
I was going to ask you about that. Are you going to be competing?
Yes, I am.
When is that going to be?
I'm doing an entertainment piece because I haven't technically debuted as Sara Tonin in the competition world yet. And
Right.
I was going to do that before COVID canceled it.
Yes. We were both so upset about that.
I was so upset because you had helped me so wonderfully with that number. I went from like 0 to hero, exotic, new to like kind of okay. And I was like ready for my 80s montage. But that didn't happen. So when PSO happens in real life, I'm going to save that number for the stage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be performing a comedy number.
Oh, okay.
And this is, okay, so the song is called High Waisted by a performer known as Shirley Nome. She's a local Vancouver singer, but she's a comedy singer.
Oh, very cool.
The song is about her love of high-waisted granny panties and how they're so comfortable. So I ordered a size 2 big granny panties off Amazon. And I am going to strut my stuff around my pole while singing and pole dancing about my love. Well, not singing, but like pole dancing about my love of granny panties.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really excited for this piece. It's going to be great.
Wait. When is this going to be again? I can't remember when the actual date is.
It's happening over 2 Saturdays, like in June. It's like June 13th, 20th, I think. Don't quote me on that, but something like that.
Okay. I'll plug it in the podcast notes, and also I'll be sure to ask you again at the end of the show, where can we find you? And so we can promote that. That's super cool. Oh my gosh. So pole dancing has obviously been a very, very, very big part of your life.
Yeah. Very big.
A little bit on hold right now, but you do have a pole at home, so.
Yes, one of my friends was so kind and is lending me one of her poles. It is a static only pole, so no spinning.
Okay.
Which is fine because I'm in like a really small space, so I feel like if I did spin pole, I would just hit my wall and all the things, and it wouldn't be great. So,
no, would not be good. But at least you have that. Like, how has the training at home been? Like, how have you been motivated? I see you training every day, so I'm like, wow, girl, I'm so jealous. I wish I had a pole in my house.
It's really hard, actually. Like, honestly, there are days where I have to force myself to just try and do an hour of the pole because I'm so used to having people in the studio and all that support, and it's really weird being at home and not having friends, like being able to spot you or encourage you or get inspiration on what you're going to train on that day. A lot of my training is inspiration from Instagram. I'm also like, when I try new moves, I really like a spotter, and to not have that security blanket has just been kind of jarring. And it can be really frustrating at times because you're like, I really want to get this move. I really want to get this trick. But when you don't get it, it's like, ugh, like, you know, it's got its ups and downs. There are definitely days where I feel really successful and I'm able to just forget about it and pull for longer than what I would expect myself to. But when I do train, I try to aim for that like minimum 1 hour on the pole. And then if I'm not feeling it, I just call it quits. Because you need to be like in a good mental state as well in order to get a good workout in.
Yeah, totally. I hear you. I remember when COVID first started and everything's closed, you know, gonna try to like dance at home or train at home. Finding that motivation was so hard. Like, so hard. Even still, like to this day, I get days where I'm like, I don't feel like moving, but I have to do something. And like, just the amount of exercise and training that I've been doing is just like a minuscule amount compared to what I was doing before.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, I feel that. I mean, even I right now still feel like I've lost a lot of things, and but in that same respect, like with training at home, I've gained other things as well. Like I forced myself to really work on my flexibility, which I have a really hard time doing at the studio anyways. So that's been sort of like a bonus.
So at least you've developed other skills too. So at least you have that.
Ish.
But the cross training is really, really great, you know, for both burlesque, for pole dancing, also for your acting. Did you want to speak a little bit about your acting as well?
Oh, yeah. So my acting, I am trained in musical theater. I have my diploma from Capilano University.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I was sort of in the musical theater world for about a year before I decided to take a break from it and now just go into the burlesque scene and really dive headfirst into that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have used my pole dancing in theater, in the musical theater world as well. I did a show of Guys and Dolls where they had me bring my pole and I was a pole dancing gangster.
So cool. It's so fucking badass.
It was really fun. So I've done stuff like that before. And I also really find that the training in musical theater and being so expressive and learning how to tell a story with dance and song has really helped shape a lot of the pieces that I create when I'm pole dancing or even doing burlesque. It helps me tell that story that I'm trying to tell or be expressive when I need to be.
Right. And that is so important too. Like, I could only speak on the competitive front with pole dancing, but like just having that story to tell is so important. And not everyone has it.
Like what is it you're trying to say? Like, what are you trying to get across? Is there a beginning, middle, end? Is there not? What is your character feeling? Are they sad? Are they happy? Are they, all these questions that you answer as you explore the piece.
Totally. And because like you have had so much experience with like comedic or like a comedic front, also like more in the entertainment category and stuff too. I remember you mentioned earlier too, but also I helped coach you with your last routine. That transition from, being a comedic relief or being very dramatic, having those like story arches and those storylines, how do you move from that to exotic, which doesn't always need to have a narrative? Was that transition difficult for you? Or even just like getting in touch with your sensuality and your sexual side?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this past year has really been an exploration of my sexual self. Like, I'm going to be honest, I was a super vanilla person all my life. I'm still a super vanilla person, like, if I'm going to be real. And just being able to go like, oh, I can be sexy. This is what sexy feels like. But it is really hard to transition from that constantly telling a story to, suddenly you're doing exotic and there is no storyline necessarily. And just being yourself and expressing that. And that was a little harder for me. Mm-hmm. But I also found that I really enjoyed it. So I think that helped. And when I realized like, oh, I actually look good doing this.
You do.
It felt good. So I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that leg line. Okay, we're going to do that again. Like,
yeah, like that's definitely tricky. Because I remember like my very first competition and they had feedback sessions before. And I remember like, they were all just like, well, what's the storyline with your piece? And I'm like, well, there is no storyline because, I don't know, I want to dance in a sensual manner and like showcase those skills in it. I don't know. I didn't agree with their feedback in terms of like, you need to have a story. I'm like, it's not like a lyrical routine. It's not like dramatic or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's so different.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that unless like your song conveys some type of lyrics and that you can really just play into it. But that's just my 2 cents.
I mean, okay, if we're going to get into it, like, your storyline is you're trying to turn the audience on. Yes. That is your goal. That is your storyline.
Make me wet. Okay, well, speaking of sensuality, can we talk about Cabaret Torlage and also, well, now called Vancity Vixens Cabaret? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Cabaret Torlage. I joined recently with the troupe. As I said, I'm a singer for them, so I come on, I sing songs, I do a little bit of pole, all that jazz. But we recently rebranded. We are now called Vancity Vixens Cabaret, which is really, really exciting. We're starting this new chapter of the troupe, and I'm so excited to see what we have in store. We're still sort of in the planning sessions of everything right now. COVID obviously ruined all of our plans for the next show, which we were going to do a Broadway show. And I was so excited for a Broadway themed show because that's my jam.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's obviously been put on hold. So we're still trying to figure out, like, what are we going to do online? But we've created a new Facebook page, a new Instagram. And yeah, we're just really in the planning phases right now. But yeah, the troupe has been a long running troupe. When it was Cabaret Torlage, it was founded by Lee Torlage back at the Penthouse. And yeah, it's just been this amazing ongoing show. It's going on for years and years and years. So we're still going strong. So yeah, it's usually shows are every other month at the Penthouse, and that's outside of quarantine rules. But yeah, like if you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, we'll be sure to let everyone know what the future plans are, and hopefully when clubs open up again, we'll be able to showcase an amazing show.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited to like see you guys perform live. For those who have never been to a burlesque show, what can they expect from Vancity Vixens? Or even like if you want to speak about your past shows, what can we expect? Like, is it singing and dance? What kind of numbers are involved? And so on?
Yeah, so each burlesque show is unique, depends on the theme. So specifically with Vancity Vixens Cabaret, you can expect it's like a small troupe. We're going to get intimate. We're going to look at you as we dance. We're going to entice you. We are going to take our clothes off.
Yay!
One thing that you really can expect at any and all burlesque show is anytime someone does something that you like, you cheer for them.
That's right.
Yeah, you cheer and you hoot and you holler for them. And it just makes the vibe so much better. A lot of burlesque shows in general tend to have a theme to them. The most recent show I did, Pent Up Online, it was more of like a cabaret of different performers' abilities and showcase what they can do. But a lot of the times, like for example, when I did the Harry Potter one, it was Harry Potter themed.
So amazing.
I've seen other burlesque shows where it's like a gory, bloody theme, which is really cool too. There's been, Geekenders does a lot of geeky, nerdy stuff, which is just fantastic. So yeah, it depends on, what the producers decide they're going to produce that month. And they ask the community for pitch ideas, and we pitch them, and then they take us and we perform away. So yeah.
That is
really
so cool.
You can expect. And then sometimes there's like other numbers where burlesque dancers, like I know with La Maison Lust, they will have the girls come into the audience and they'll dance for you, but no touching. Touching is not allowed. That's like a huge thing. Never, ever touch a burlesque dancer.
Right.
No non-consensual touching.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
What are some of the other rules and stuff too? Because for those who have never been to a burlesque show, and like each burlesque show is a little bit different though too. So depending on the venue.
Yes, each burlesque show is very different depending on the venue. But in general, for almost all performances, it's safe to say no touching the performers. Mm-hmm. Cannot do that. And the other one is no photography and no videoing of the performers. Right. Really, it's for the safety of the performers, and it's just for the comfort because, we are taking our clothes off. We are having fun. We are being sensual and sexual. I mean, it's the same thing when you go to a strip club, right?
Yes.
Like, don't film people. Don't touch them if they don't want you to.
Don't be creepy. Just don't be creepy.
Don't be creepy. Be a respectable human.
Like, why is it so hard?
Yeah, it's not that hard.
No. So I know there's like some comparisons, and obviously because like Cabaret Torlage / Vancity Vixens takes place in the Penthouse.
Yes.
Is there? I know there's no full nudity, but how much nudity is there? How much skin is shown and stuff like that? Are tips allowed?
We get down into pasties and a thong. That is basically what we do. Yeah, I've seen burlesque performers get down to pasties and a C-string, which those are kind of fun.
What's a C-string? What?
Yeah, so a C-string is like, what is it? It's like a little cup that goes under your vagina, and like
what? I'm Googling this.
It's just a string that hangs out there. Like Google it; it'll make more sense when you see it. But it's like a thong without the sides.
Oh my god! Yeah. How does that keep together? I'm just Googling this now.
I have no idea. There must be like some wire in it, but they're pretty cool.
If anyone in the audience knows, please let me know.
Yeah, please. And let me know too. How do they stay on?
Oh my god, I'd be so nervous to dance in that, but that's so cool. Kudos to them. And
yeah, right?
What about tips and stuff too? How does that protocol work for you guys?
With tips, I know when I was at the Rio, for example, because that stage is so big. I haven't gotten any tips there. Actually, in a lot of burlesque performances, I haven't received many tips. The only ones that I have received tips for are, like, for example, with Pent Up, because they have virtual tipping available. So if you're watching the show, you can they usually provide a link as to where you can submit your tips to. So people will tip us, and then we get a portion of those tips.
Cool.
But the thing is burlesque performers, we love tips. Honestly, it's same as anywhere else. Like, if we're performing for you, tip us. We love it. At the Penthouse, it's the same thing. When we're doing the Vancity Vixens Cabaret, just throw the money on the stage.
Yes.
We like it. We'll take it. We'll be thankful for it. Like, we love it.
If you like what you see, tip your performers, guys. They're to entertain you.
If you like what you see, tip us.
Yes.
We like it. We like money.
Who doesn't?
Right?
Okay, wait. Okay, so you were speaking about Pent Up. So Pent Up is all these virtual performances that just debuted last month, I think, right? In April?
Yeah, it just happened last month.
So cool. So it's really, really so interesting to see all these performances move into the online sphere. How has that been for you guys?
It's been interesting. And I've been noticing a lot of different burlesque companies are doing different things with virtual performances. So Pent Up used Zoom, which was really cool. And they had all the performers pre-record their performances in a video setting. And then we would send it to the producers. They would edit the videos down into like one video. And then they had 2 hosts, which were, oh my God, they were some fantastic new drag queens in the drag scene here in Vancouver. They are fabulous. So they would like do a live portion of the 2 drag queens from their home, and then they would trigger the video of like 3 performances, and then it would go back to the hosts, and they would talk for a little bit, and then trigger more videos. And so it was just going back and forth between like the videos and the hosts, which was really awesome. I found that setup to be super organized, and it wasn't stressful at all. All of the control went to the producers, so you didn't have to toggle between different people controlling the video or doing anything live. So you so you could do a couple of takes at home and make sure you submit the take you're happy with. You can also edit your own video before you submit it, so you can do like a cool, like, music video-esque style burlesque performance or whatever performance you want.
Oh, cool.
I know other companies are doing other things as well where the burlesque performers are live. So they do toggle between the different performers' screens and videos so that when it's their turn, they get to go and perform live. But again, all of the tipping is now virtual. So it's like, if you like what you see, please give us a tip at this link.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really interesting for sure. Definitely an adjustment, but it's nice to be able to still share your art online without, yeah, it's fun.
It's really good that you guys have that platform too, and especially with technology, people are just so innovative, and people are just, in general, people are just quick to jump onto Zoom, onto Discord, Skype, FaceTime, all this stuff. So it's really awesome to see that.
Oh, totally. And it's so great to see what people come up with in their homes. There's some really unique performances. Like, what was it? One of the girls in the last Pent Up, she did this whole like number on her bed, and it ended with her going into the bed getting ready to masturbate or something like that. And it was great.
So cool.
There was a sexy lesbian unicorn number, and it was hot, and it's so many wonderful, wonderful numbers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And are these all local performers, like based in Vancouver, BC?
Yeah. So Pent Up, I believe 2 flight polls from local performers, though I'm not sure what the next round of performances is going to look like. It'll probably be local Vancouver performancers. I can't talk. Performancers.
It's okay. It's Monday morning on a holiday, so don't worry about
it. I believe they pull locally, but there are other cabarets that are happening out there that are pulling from, because it's all virtual, so you can submit to anything you want. You can go to submit something to Seattle and do something virtually with them. Hey, is something happening out in LA? Sure, go ahead and submit to that. But there's like this security blanket of performing in Vancouver, just because people know who you are. And especially as a baby burlesque performer myself, it's nice to try to get my name out there and have people be like, oh yeah, there's that person from Vancouver.
Totally. And it's like a really good opportunity. I mean, with COVID and everything, it sucks that nothing is open, but it's a really cool opportunity for you to kind of like gain and work on your traction as a performer without slowing down.
Yes.
You know? And also just, as you said, like breaking down these borders and being able to apply and showcase on other platforms that are virtually available around the world. Did you also want to talk about, because I know you were teaching for Tantra as well, and how moving instruction online, like any challenges with that? Because obviously we had to do it live, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, you know as much as I do.
God.
I mean, definitely was a challenge. It's a challenge to not see your students and not hear their feedback live. You have to constantly check the chat box and be like, oh my God, does someone need my help? Okay, are we good? No one's saying anything. Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Like, am I making a fool of myself? And like, it's because you can't see what people are doing as well. You can't feed off of that live energy. So it really is a challenge.
Yeah,
I know
it's tricky.
I mean, I know that, I don't know, you got that email too, but like Tantra is reopening on June 1st.
June 1st, guys. So sign up for those classes.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. But there's a lot of rules and restrictions put into place for that. And it's definitely going to be a challenge, especially with, you know, I think they're not teaching some of the higher level stuff just because like you can't spot right now. We don't want anyone touching each other, which is totally understandable. And I respect that so much. And I'm actually thankful that they're taking those extra precautions.
Yeah,
but
it's tricky.
It's tricky because I'm also a very hands-on instructor. And so it's difficult when you can't see your students, you can't make those adjustments, you can't feed off of their energy. It's like, am I doing this right?
Yeah, it's going to be very challenging, just as an instructor, but also as a performer and stuff too. There are just so many limitations and restrictions going to be put in place. It's going to be
like I don't no idea when clubs are going to open up again or venues. Like, it's going to be a long time. Like, who knows when PSO is going to happen in real life again. Yeah,
so PSO is a big competition here in Vancouver, but also across the world, basically. It's a pole dancing competition that we were just 1 week away from performing and competing at before the whole outbreak happened. I know. I remember you called me and just like, oh my God, did you see that email?
Yeah, I know. I think I texted you as soon as it happened, and I was like, I'm so mad.
We were so close. Like, we were both just ready for our performances. I was so ready to slay, and then...
Yeah, and we just, like, bought a new pair of pleasers, too, right? And, we just bought a new pair of pleasers. I had my own special pair of pleasers, and we were, like, ready, and it just... No.
Yeah, that was, like, really, really just depressing, and just not being able to dance and stuff at home. Like, I don't have a pole. I don't really have much space in my apartment, but, like, I seriously think I went through depression for the first 2 to 3 weeks of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff, too, which was not fun. And just, like, seeing all my pole stars, like, on Instagram and then people being able to dance, like, it made me really, really, really sad.
Yeah,
and stuff,
totally.
Too. But with that, like, why don't we talk about, shift the conversation over to mental health? Sari?
Where do you want to begin?
Oh, hi. Yeah, I was like, Sari. Oh, gosh. Where do you want to begin? Oh, gosh. This is such a broad topic, but I think it's also really super important conversation to have as well.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, I'm a huge advocate for mental health. I mean, I guess I could start with my own struggles and issues.
Yeah, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, I'm such an open book when it comes to my mental health. I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder at the ripe old age of 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I've been fighting that most of my life. I have depression, and of course, anxiety comes alongside with OCD in general because it is an anxiety disorder.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just sort of been like this up and down roller coaster. When I was younger, I took Prozac for my OCD, which is, what is it? It's called an SSRI.
Okay.
And basically what it does is with OCD, my brain has a hard time latching onto serotonin Hey, there's my stage name, Sara Tonin.
I was just going to say.
Got it? Yeah, so my brain has a really hard time latching onto serotonin receptors. So like when serotonin is latched onto my brain, it absorbs it really, really quickly. So it doesn't let me feel good for long periods of times. And that's where the anxiety comes from.
Okay.
So what SSRIs in general, it's like a whole category of medications. What they do is they make you latch onto that serotonin longer so that you can have that sense of relief so you don't feel so much anxiety. So I took Prozac for about a year when I was younger, like way back in the day. Then I stopped. Then I started taking it recently again, which, yeah, is more of a generic brand. Prozac is like the brand name, but the name for the type of medication is called as fluoxetine.
Okay.
Honestly, it's been a life changer for me because I reached a point in my life where my OCD and anxiety were through the roof. I was in a really toxic relationship and it was triggering it. And so I needed this medication to help keep me under wraps or to help bring me back to earth. And honestly, like it's been a godsend. It's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, mental health's been really hard too, especially with COVID and everything. It really has been triggering a lot of my depression. I already have a lot of like self-image issues and depression and stuff to begin with. I'm generally like a very lonely person, so that tends to get the best of me as well. And with COVID happening, it just really amplified it so much. Like I feel so alone at home. Right. Sometimes you feel like friends don't care about you because they don't talk to you, but like you can't blame them because everyone's going through the same traumatic experience. So like you can't really get mad at anyone for not being there for you, but you're also valid in feeling upset because no one is there for you, if that makes any sense. Like you're allowed to feel upset. You're allowed to be upset that, of course, life is shitty right now, but don't take it out on anyone. Like don't put that expectation on others because we're all going through the same shitty situation.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. And it's hard to manage it from day to day. Like there are some days where, I can't even pole dance because it weighs so heavy on my heart that I just can't get myself to move. So like, I'll just hang around, watch Netflix all day. I'm an avid crocheter. So like I'll crochet, stuff like that. And really when I find my stress levels peaking, that's when I try to actively reach out to friends. Like honestly, the best you can do for yourself is just like reach out to a friend that you really trust and be like, hey, can I talk to you? Like I'm really stressed right now and I just need to vent. That can really, really help.
Yeah, just get it out of your system.
Exactly. You need an outlet to get it out of. Find your outlet, like whether that be like exercise, medication is okay. Like we need to get rid of this freaking stigma that medication isn't okay. Like it's okay to it's such a big topic and such a big thing for me just because it's like I've been fighting it all my life and even myself was feeling really self-conscious about taking medication again. For the longest time, I just kept saying, no, I want to be able to handle my OCD on my own without help, I want to do this on my own.
Right.
But I couldn't. And it's just like taking a medication for any other illness that you might be handling. It's just an illness and nothing more.
Totally. And I'm so glad you're bringing that up. Like, thank you so much for speaking up and sharing that, the positivity around medication. It can really, really help you. And there's just so much stigma around medication all the time.
Oh, so much. And whether that's medication for like depression, anxiety, whatever you're going through, it's okay. Like, I would say just don't turn to substance abuse. Like, that's the only thing.
It's a
I know
slope.
some people coping mechanisms can be very different and harmful. So, I mean, as long as your coping mechanism isn't harmful to your body, and medication is so great. And it's so easy to get medication in Vancouver too. If you have a family doctor, you can just go to your family doctor and say, hey, I'm going through stuff and I would like to consider medication. They're the ones that can get you that medication and get you started. And they can also help formulate a plan for you. Right. I know that my doctor got me in touch with my therapist. And it's wonderful because all you have to do is go to the family doctor and do what is it called? It's like a mental health check-in or something like that. And it's like a 20-minute doctor's appointment where they assess your mental health and then they go over what the options are at that time. And then you have follow-up appointments from there that are also 20 minutes. And they reassess you each time you come in to see how you're doing.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. I didn't know that they had that.
Yeah, they do that. And it's honestly been
so
such
efficient.
a godsend.
Yeah.
So good. I will say one thing that is a big pet peeve of mine with OCD specifically. Sorry, this is like a really random side note.
No, please share. We love tangents on here.
Tangents. Okay. Oh my God. People, stop saying you're so goddamn OCD. It's not what you think it is.
Yes.
Like when you're like taking a hair off of your shirt and you're like, I'm so OCD. No, that's not OCD.
It's not. Yes,
OCD
it's not.
is like a debilitating life thing that can really be awful. And it's not just like keeping things clean and neat and tidy and like straight. No, it's numbers, obsessing, like, did I touch the doorknob 3 times? Is 3 a bad number? Oh, 3 is a bad number. We got to go to touch it 4 times now. Oh my God, I didn't touch it quite right. Or it's intrusive thoughts. It's thoughts that you just don't control and you don't want in your brain. Or it's like your brain is telling you, you need to go wash your hands 3 more times or else this person's going to die. It's totally irrational. It's totally horrendous. And
totally.
It's not pulling hairs off of shirts. I'm sorry, guys, but that's not what OCD is.
No, and
just
you don't
get out there.
And you don't have to apologize for that. I just feel like there's so many terms
I know,
that are watered down, And
I just get so pissed off when I hear so many people just like go around and be like, I'm so OCD because like I'm pulling this hair off, or like I just need this straight. I'm like, no, no,
that's not
it. Like through life-changing mental health problems with OCD? No.
Well said.
Thank you.
You mentioned something about like a key to beating and also just maintaining a positive mental health is finding your outlet. What was your process for finding that? Because I know a lot of people may struggle with that. They'll turn to substance abuse, or they'll maybe start excessively working out or something that can turn into other disorders. How do you prevent that from happening?
It's not easy. Honestly, the best thing that you can do for yourself is get the help that you need. Find a friend or 2 or 5 that you really trust and you really love, that when you're having problems that you can really talk about your problems and issues with. You'd be surprised at how many people are okay and accepting of mental health problems. Like, it's totally normal to think like, oh my God, I'm such a weird person for thinking these things. I'm such a weird person for feeling these things. I'm embarrassed. It's okay. Everyone has them. Everyone goes through them. And
right.
I guarantee you, your friend isn't going to hate you for having those feelings or thoughts and emotions. And in fact, would probably be really, really thankful if you came forward and talked to them. So many times there are people who hide their mental illness because they're scared and they feel like they're going to get judged. Right. Honestly, that's the hardest hurdle to get over. Once you're able to get over that sort of hurdle, and again, I'm only speaking, like, I'm not a registered nurse or a psychologist. I'm only speaking to what worked for me. But really, like, finding your support group that you can really hone in with, like, that's so important. Find your support group. I recommend so much going and seeing your doctor, talking about options. Finding a therapist that works for you. And finding a therapist is not an easy thing to do sometimes.
No.
Like, I've had really shitty therapists in Vancouver and it was awful, but I've also had really good therapists, like the one that I'm seeing right now. She is a godsend. Like, and honestly, finding the right therapist that works for you, it's truly, truly trial and error. A lot of things that I've heard of, and the reason why people don't go to therapy, and I swear to God, I've heard this statement so many times when I talk about therapy.
Okay.
People say, I'm too smart for the therapist, so I just feel like I'm not going to get anything out of that. Yeah, so many people say that. And
no way. Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, okay, that's the therapist's job. They know that you're thinking that. Yeah. They know. Like, this isn't like, their job is to challenge you. Your goal is not to outsmart them. Let them do their work. And you're not going to outsmart them. Their job is to observe you and observe those key things that are happening to you in your brain, and they're there to help you and to challenge you and to help you find coping mechanisms to get over or to help you get through whatever you're going through. So I'm sorry, I just think it's a ridiculous statement.
No, I understand.
They're too smart for their therapists. I'm like, no.
They're professionals. Like, come on.
They're professionals. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Do you see, like, I don't know if you see a trend or anything in the burlesque community, but are there any challenges with, like, mental health in being in burlesque at all?
Yeah, I mean, for myself, just because I do have that OCD, I do know that if I do something wrong, I can feel really, really self-conscious sometimes about a performance that just didn't feel good. Sometimes if one of my castmates is in a mood, sometimes I'm convinced it's something that I did. And even though that's totally irrational and illogical and I may have done nothing, I'll be convinced, like, oh my God, I did something to piss this person off. And it can really set off a bad mood for the performance, just for myself sometimes. Sometimes you can feel inadequate when you see other people, and that's totally normal too. And like, no one is inadequate. That's what I love about burlesque, is no one is better than anyone else. Like, we're all here to support each other. We love all body types, all shapes, all sizes, and it's just a celebration of your body.
Totally.
But I do find that sometimes, though, and I've had this experience where if I am having a bad day, then maybe going and doing a burlesque performance, it'll leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth because I'm already in a bad mental mindset. And then you have to go and do this performance and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? But, that's fine. And sometimes you have those panic modes too of like, am I going to do this right? Are people going to like it? Or totally normal performer stuff. But yeah, there's definitely been challenges having mental health problems along with doing burlesque as a performance as well. Like it can be really challenging some days.
Totally. And I don't know if you want to speak about this, but did you want to speak about your cause of depression?
Yeah, and that's a heavy topic.
Very heavy topic, yeah.
So I'm going to try to be vague, but like...
Yeah, sure. Again, however you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, so my depression comes from... I mean, obviously it is a chemical imbalance in my brain, but a lot of it too is just how I have been spoken to in the past, in particular with my burlesque. And it's been a really hard journey where I've been told, oh, you're going to get raped because you're doing this, or you have a low quality boyfriend. How dare he let you do this? You're never going to get anywhere in life. You're going to get fired from your job. You're setting feminism backwards. Being told these things, it from a very specific source, it's really hard. And when those people don't understand or they can't see how those words are harmful to you, and they're just convinced that what you're doing is wrong, it's really, really hurtful. And I mean, I still want to do burlesque. I'm not going to give that up. I'm never giving that up. Like, I'm still going to fight for it because it gives me happiness. Mm-hmm. But when those people can't see that it makes you happy, and instead they just see you as this, you're looking for attention. They're not convinced that it's making you happy. There's this deeper reason. There's something that must be clearly wrong with you, but you just don't see it quite yet. Like, you don't know what's wrong with you, but there is something wrong with you, and you're not going to see it yet. Like, there's no reassurance that it's like, can't you just trust me that I'm enjoying what I'm doing? And they don't trust that, and they're instead trying to put you down. And I've been dealing with a lot of that, and it's honestly been so heartbreaking and so hard because it has been a really, really tough time for me to get through, especially with coping with all of those things that have been said to me. This was rather recent as well, so it's still very fresh in my mind and really hurts my heart. But and that's sort of the journey, I think, with any performer in like the burlesque world, or I guess in any sort of any performance avenue, or even yeah, even in the stripping, in the sex industry world,
Yeah.
any of that, there's so much where you might have people who aren't going to support you. You're going to have people that might just shoot you down. You're going to have people tell you you're setting feminism backwards, even though that's such a bullshit answer. And it hurts. It hurts a lot,
Yeah.
especially when it comes from people that matter to you.
Yeah, and especially when those people are supposed to be supporting you, or not even just supporting you, but just supposed to be caring for you. And
yeah, oh God, it hurts my heart. And it's something that I talk about in therapy as well, because it's so hard to know that you're not doing anything wrong and you're just having a good time. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not, I'm not like a murderer or something crazy like that. I'm literally just dancing around on stage.
Expressing yourself and enjoying yourself.
Expressing myself.
Yeah.
And, also being told too, like all of it has to have a purpose. All of it has to have something to help drive society forward. And like, sometimes I just want to do a performance that makes people laugh.
Yeah.
And that can be so beneficial to society, I guess, in its own respect, especially during these weird COVID times. Like, people rely on entertainment right now. So yeah, I mean, know that like if you are going through a really rough time with people that are supposed to be supportive and, that you really deeply care about, you're not alone. Like there's so many people out there who are having the same thing, and it's not easy to go through. It's so hard.
It's very difficult, but I'm so glad you were able to share that tidbit that you're going through right now, because it's incredibly difficult, and also just incredibly difficult to hear too, like as a friend. So I'm really, really, really hoping that things will change, or at least just get better and stuff too, for your own like sanity and health,
Yeah, I do have a wonderful support system here in Vancouver though. So if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be right now. But yeah, a lot of this just happens to have happened right when COVID happened. So like everything is amplified right now.
Totally.
I don't have my typical, usually I'm a very, very busy person where I'm out of my house for 15 hours a day.
Yes.
And and suddenly I go from being out of the house from 15 hours a day to like, I'm in my house all the time now. So I don't have an escape from those thoughts and those feelings. And it's hard. You can't escape. Like I can't escape from them.
No.
So my escape is trying to talk to friends when they listen to me about everything that's going on. And I definitely know, like I've talked to you before about some of this, and it's hard, man. It's so hard.
Oh, virtual hug.
Virtual hug.
Miss you so much.
I miss you too.
It's been way too long, but you know what? At least we got technology during this time. So, but on a lighter note, we'll switch gears. We're going to go into some short Q&A here.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, there's a couple questions that came in. So, how many tattoos do you have?
Okay, hold on. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 maybe? I think, no, wait.
Wait.
I think it's 16. I don't know. It's all kind of becoming one big thing now. I'm supposed to have another appointment in June, so there's going to be more.
I did not know it was that much. Oh my God.
Yeah, I have a lot of ink on my body. There is a lot, and I love.
Well, they're beautiful. I'll just say that.
Thank you.
I guess this question is coming from Pole Dancer. How is that Iron X progress going? Your favorite nemesis move?
I can't do it.
You were so close.
I get so close. I can't, like, I have the strength. I can't figure it out. I can't deadlift. And honestly, it's what really gets to me. I just ordered a resistance band online. I finally caved. So I'm going to use a resistance band, but I fucking hate that move because I can't get it.
It's a hard move.
Yeah, I feel bad. I'm one of those dancers where I'm like, I can do all these other crazy things, but I can't Iron X. Why?
So if you guys are non-pole dancers, an Iron X move is a move that you're parallel to the pole. You're just holding up your body with your arms, and you're shaped like an X. So yes, it is very hard.
So hard.
Very difficult. What are your plans for your next competition piece?
Well, yeah, as I said earlier, I'm going to do a granny panty number for the next competition virtually online. So yeah, get ready for that. It's going to be sexy and high-waisted and big granny panties.
I am so excited to see that personally.
If you want to check out the song, I highly recommend checking it out. The artist name is Shirley Gnome as in like a garden gnome. And yeah, the song is called High Waisted. A lot of her stuff is very explicit, so I highly recommend checking her music out.
Cool. I love the plug.
Yes.
Do you have any recommendations for like resources for support for mental health?
Yeah. So I would definitely recommend, again, your family doctor is going to be a huge support. You can always Google therapists online. There's also lots of resources. Like I know if you have My TELUS Health, what is it called? It's like this app.
Teladoc. I think it's Teladoc or like Assure Health or something. But it's like an app, right?
It's Babylon TELUS Health. It's a really cool app where you can do like virtual doctor's appointments, but they also will do therapy. There's also, I know there's suicide hotlines out there. There's also I know VGH has a mental health resource center that you can go into for free, and they will help you in a mental health crisis. So yeah, check out the VGH. I forget what the name of that center is called right now, but they have a center there. So if you are in dire straits, like there are resources available to you in Vancouver. That's what I love about Canada, is that unlike our neighbors to the south, we have way better access to mental health. There isn't crazy wait lists. It isn't crazy expensive. All it takes is like a doctor's appointment or just a trip to the hospital, and there is no shame in that whatsoever. Like even I was considering going to the hospital help for mental health because I was in such a bad position earlier, about half a year ago. But my doctor was super helpful. But yeah, family doctors, they are so golden.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. And the last question here is, who are your burlesque idols?
Who are my burlesque idols? Okay, well, I'm going to say I freaking love Nikki Nine Doors.
Yes, love her too.
So much. I love Lola Frost.
Yes.
She's gorgeous on stage. I also love and idolize Miss Kiss.
Okay.
She is a Vancouver performer, and she hosts a lot of things. She's very funny, and she's got the sort of gothic vibe going on. Love it. Yeah, those are some of my main idols. I have like a whole bunch of burlesque performers. Oh, and I have another burlesque performer that she is very near and dear to my heart, and I just absolutely love all the work she does. Her name is La Dame Derriere.
I love that name.
She's a wonderful friend, and she is such a great performer, and like I just only hope to be as sensual and sexual as her.
Goals, right? Goals. Okay, yes. But before I let you go, where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Sara Tonin Burlesque, all one word. You can also find Vancity Vixens Cabaret on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, the handle is Vancity Vixens Cabaret.
Yes.
And on Facebook, the username is VV Cabaret.
VV, okay.
But if you just search Vancity Vixens Cabaret, our page will show up.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the main places you can find me.
And next performance is?
Next performance is Pent Up 2.0. And that is happening. Let me get the showtime for that is on June 3rd.
That is coming up real soon. So this is great.
Yeah, I gotta get choreographing that piece ASAP.
Well, we're definitely going to be looking forward to seeing that. But thank you so much, Miss Sara Tonin, for joining us on the show today. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure.
And yeah, thanks guys for joining us for another episode of Strip by Sia. That's Strip by Sia on Instagram, or my personal Instagram, Sia Steph. And there may or may not be another episode. I keep saying that because it's just like a COVID series and I just keep on rolling with it. So we'll see what happens next week. But thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. New episode hopefully next Sunday. See you guys. You're listening to Stripped by Sia, produced and hosted by Steph Sia, aka Kimchi, music by Ted D, photography by Ian Dabern, and graphics by Maria